All right, folks. Welcome to 27 degrees out here. All right, working on a Jeep Wrangler with a 3.6. So you already know what that means. Yes, it's an oil cooler housing leak. All right, it's all over the internet. YouTube has 10,000 of them already done. I'm just going to show you the way I did it. Pretty much the same. Let's break it down nice and easy for you. Might have to take my union break in between. And that's the way it works. All right, let's see here. Let's take the top engine cover off. Just pop this off. Put it off to the side. Then we're down to the air filter to the throttle body hose. Clamp here, 2 10mm bolts here. If you notice, this has been done before, so it's already broken. I didn't do it. It was already done. So the oil cooler was already done recently. I don't know how long ago, but it was done by the Chrysler dealer, okay, under warranty. So a lot of this stuff has already been removed. So it's a lot easier than taking it for the first time. Now back here, there's a little rubber or foam cover, okay? You see a lot of them on the internet. They just rip it up. They take the two little clips here, Christmas tree clips, and they pop them and they rip it up. I could not rip it up without ripping it, like really demolishing it. So what I did was I just took the 10mm bolts there and removed this bracket. Took it out of the way, and then the foam came out a lot easier instead of mangling it out, because otherwise it grabs on this metal here and it will rip. Okay, so I didn't want to rip it. I like to keep it nice, original. Put that off to the side. Now to the manifold hoses. All right, there's this hose over here that's attached to the air cleaner. Okay, they're locked onto those little U clips over here. Just snap them out of there. There's another one over here for this one. Take it out of there. There's another one over here. I took it out of there. Okay, these three can actually be lifted up and out of the way when it's time to take the manifold out. So right now they're just hanging loose. Over here, it was 2 10mm bolts to take this harness bracket up. Just gotta lift it up out of the way. I've seen these brackets taken off too, or at least moved. So far, I didn't do it yet because I didn't get to the bottom yet, but I loosened them up just in case. All right. So that's pretty much on this side. And then you got your plugs. Oh, by the way, when you take that plastic thing, there's a inlet temperature sensor that you have to unplug. This one here, the throttle body, you got to unplug it. Just pull this little red clip out, and then you can squeeze it. That'll come out. There's another plug up here. On the driver's side, same thing. Squeeze it, pull it off to the side. This harness is on with a little Christmas tree clip. Pop that, get that out of the way. There's another one down over here. Pop that, get that out of the way. Going back to the throttle body, there's a clip over here. Different clip. It's a metal one. Just clips onto this little lip over here. Okay, get that. Over here, there are 2 10mm nuts. One in the back and one over here in the front. These hoses are in the way, just move them out of the way. Right? 10mm nuts, and move them out of the way. And they're studs, so they are part of the manifold. What happens is that when you unbolt the manifold, when you unbolt the upper plenum from the bottom, you're just going to take the whole assembly, just pull it out this way, out of the studs and the brackets, and lift it up out of the way. All right, let's climb up here. Over here, people, is the bolts to the upper plenum. There's 1, 2, 3 over here on top. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That one's for the bracket. There's 1, 2, 3. There's a few here. 1, 2, 3. And there's 4. There's one all the way in the back pointing down. You need a little extension to get to that one. Okay. Once you get that, then this here is pretty much loose as a goose. Okay. Like I said, you're going to lift it up past this little bracket over here and then take it like this and just pull it off on a slant. So I could do this with the left hand here. Okay. Once you pull it out, up out of the way, like that. Or these could tie up out of the way if you want, so it doesn't grab. But once the plenum is out, then this is the part that you get into. All right. This is a little rubber foam piece that covers up the coils on the driver's side. Do not forget to put it back on. I'm sure a lot of people do forget. It's common. Okay. Now up to this part. What we're going to do now is we are going to start to take the fuel rail off. The fuel rail has to be removed and tilted over to the side. All right, so we don't have to disconnect the fuel line, but you do have to disconnect all the fuel injectors over here. All right, so up to this point here, we are now going to take my union brake. You know what I'm going to do? We can wire tie that up out of the way. So I'm going to take my union brake, and we'll come back. Before I go my brake, give you a closer look at those bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, the one in the back. All right. So from the top view, those are them. And the nuts, I put them back. All right. So I put all the screws and the nuts back on the plenum so that they don't fall off when you put them on the side of the fenders. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to knock them off. They're going to disappear. They're going to go into nowhere. And you're going to kick yourself in the butt. So put all the hardware back together. Makes it nice and neat. All right. Union brake. All right, folks. So up to this point over here, where there's 4 T30 Torx that holds the fuel rail on. Then there's 2 little tiny Christmas trees, gray ones. One here, one there. And then I disconnect these first 2 coils over here. And you disconnect all the fuel injectors. Okay? Got to lift the little red tab up. And then you can squeeze the connector and pull it out. So I did it on this side. That side I left connected for now because I don't think I'm going to touch that. But we might have to later on. There is this funny little bracket over here. But this bracket makes like a little L turn. Goes around the valve cover. So even if you took these 2 screws off and moved this, the bracket is still in the way. But anyway, this fuel rail literally just snaps on over the injectors. So you get a little curved screwdriver and just pop it up and you pull it out of the injectors. And this is what I don't see in the other videos. And it irks me. So I'm going to show you here. When you pop the rails up out of the injectors, injectors have O-rings, an upper and a lower. Okay, if you look at the fuel rail here, the O-rings get stuck on the here because it comes off of there. Okay, some will just fall out. Now, the proper thing to do is to change the O-rings. These O-rings or these gaskets are the same ones as here. You change these, don't you? How come nobody changes the O-rings on the injectors? It's a lot more work. You got to pull each injector out, put a new O-ring in it, and then sit the injector back in. And then put the rails back in and snap them all in. So a lot of people won't do that. Like what you see here. They'll probably pick up that O-ring, put it back in the injector. Take that one out, put it back in the injector. Put this under 60 PSI, if not more. Fuel pressure. Do you really want to fire? So change the O-ring. It's like $45, I think it is. Change the O-rings. You got to go the extra step. Yes, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get here. Okay, you can see it because this harness is in the way. But you're going to have to do it. You have to do it because I can't see myself putting this back together thinking that there might be a fuel leak. All right. Yeah, when you lift this up a little bit, there's going to be some fuel because it's pressurizing the rail. I just let it lift it up just enough to let it sizzle out. Most of it would come out and then dry up. All right, so took the rail, pushed it off to the side, hung up my hoses over there. Now we're going to get to the the lower intake itself. It should be ready to come out. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so here we are. 8mm bolts. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you remove them. They don't come out all the way. There's like a thing to stop right here, so that's good. Just remove them to the point where you can lift them up so you know they're loose. There is a harness all the way in the back that runs across. There's a little Christmas tree clip. Just pop that up. What else? Yes, you have to disconnect the harness to the injectors on the passenger side. Okay, it's a little easier like this. You can get to it. Sometimes the injector will come out. Nothing you can do about that. But you see, look, they changed the injector unless it's two different colors. Mostly the O-rings are the same colors for upper and bottom. So maybe when it was done on the warranty, they did change the injector O-ring. See that? Pretty cool. But yeah, no, I would change the injector O-rings because it does get in the way. All right. What else? That's it. Then you got to give a little wiggle and the thing will come right out. Might have binding a little bit. It'll hit this bracket over here. It'll hit something in the back. But it will come out. As soon as I clear it up here with my left hand here, people. Okay. This is the low intake. That's what it looks like. There's your cooler. Goes on with some bolts. There's your connectors for your sensors. And there's your hoses. All right. So this is the intake. This is the lower part of it. This is the part where all the injectors are on. All right. That's going to be a nice, neat cleaning. Clean up the hose when you put the injectors back. Here's a good look with the bolts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the back. And there's a little Christmas tree clip that clipped on that way. All right. So that's what we're looking at. This is the intake on the bottom side. All right. Put it over here on the side. Oh, put it over here. Don't want to mess up my driveway here. All right. So now we're down to this part here. Sucks about climbing into a Jeep, boy, I tell you. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to have to clean up this whole area here. Clog up those little intake ports with some rags so that nothing falls in. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek in there. Oh, yeah. Let's see what's leaking in there. There's another nice puddle in there. You can see it. All right. I wonder what's actually leaking on this. I'm going to try to pressure test this to find a way to figure out exactly what's leaking on these things that go bad. I bet you there's those ports on the side. It's like glued in ports over there. All right. There you go. Let's go do some work here, people. Time to take this little bad boy out. Wait, what time is it? You and your break time. Time to take a break. Be back. All right, so what we got here is the messiest part of the job. Absolutely messy. All right. E8. The bolts that hold the housing into the engine is an E8. Had to run the AutoZone to get the Duralast brand. E8. It's an external Torx. It's a female Torx. And you take them off. And in the back, you got 2 electrical switches that you have to disconnect. Okay, bring it over here in the dirt. 2 electrical switches that you have to disconnect. Okay, and then you got a heater hose you got to disconnect. And this is what you get. That's what it looks like. It's a mess. And what you're going to see in here is a bunch of oil. It's crazy in there. Like an oil Valdez. All right. it's full of oil. When you start to soak it up, it starts to go that way, like it's leaking, goes down into the bell housing, onto the floor, and you're going to make a mess. So I got some cardboard down there, but you can see it's going to be a mess. I'm going to shake it a little bit. Look at that. Look at that mess in there. Not much coolant comes out of the hoses, so that's okay. I put that hose up out of the way for now. In an emergency, I grabbed all the rags that I had filling up there, and I just shoved it in there because it looked like it was pouring out. But yeah, this is the messy part. If you watch everybody else, everybody uses a wet vac. I'm not using my wet vac on this oil crap because that wet vac is going to get ruined forever, and it's not worth it. All right, so I'm just going to soak it up with rags, clean it with some brake cleaner, and we'll start to put the new one in. But no stock on the O-rings for the injector. Had to order them. Gonna have to wait a day for that. It's about $45. All right, but here we go. We're gonna clean up all this oil mess. I'm gonna take it from there. Yeah, that clip with the red that clip there, that was a pain in the butt to remove. But after you take the hose off, you're able to spin it around a little bit and you can get to it. All right, that's it. Let's clean up this mess. Just going to show you a better view with the flashlight. That's how deep it is. All right, that's a mess. All right, go to work. All right, so here's that valley nice and clean. Did the best we can. Spray a little brake cleaner in there. Now it's good to go. Now we have to put everything back in reverse. So I'm going to hook plug in the two switches, plug in that heater hose with the clamp, and then bolt it down, and then torque it to specs. All right. All right, here is the replacement one. All right, got a little rubber boot here. Rubber, and the O-ring. All right. That's the way this is designed. That's all it is. Comes with the switches already installed. Comes with new screws. So when you push it in, just make sure this goes right in, nice and flush. And torque it down. And we'll be good to go for the next one. Don't forget your clamps on your hose and your two plugs. All right. You know, it's so much nicer when the switches are pointing up where you can get to the plugs. You can push the tab there. You can push the tab there. Nice and easy. Not like before where it was, this one was upside down the other way and you couldn't get it until you pulled that plug off and got the hose off. Why can't they just make it straight up at 12 o'clock? Make life easy. Oh well. All right. Now to center this in, put it in, and torque down the bolts. I'll put you guys down. All right, there it is. In and torque the specs. Now we're waiting for the O-rings, for the injectors. While we're waiting for that, we can clean the injectors and the manifold and clean this area and get it ready to put back in. All right. While you're at it, if you want to change the spark plugs, it's a good idea, especially this side. That's the part that's hard to get to. So if you want to sell the customer spark plugs, good time. All right, folks. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the O-rings. This is Velcro. It's about $40, give or take. Got it from AutoZone. They come, the original ones were, looks like blue and orange. The replacement ones are black and orange. Okay. So what we're going to do is basically, you take the old ones off. The orange ones have the bigger hole. The black ones have the smaller hole. So the orange ones go on the bottom. So we're going to take these, put them right here. Like that. Make sure the spin's nice and loose. The black ones go on top. Spin them nice and loose. Okay. And now we're just going to pop them right back in. Kept them in the same order, so I know they came out of the same ones. They snap right in with no problem. That's why I don't understand why a lot of people don't change the O-rings. Like I said, this job was done once before at the Chrysler dealer. So I'm assuming they changed the O-rings, but I don't know if they changed just the tops or they changed the bottoms. Because you really don't know. You really don't. It's just a guessing game. Because once it's all together, you're not going to know. The work order is going to show that they charge the whole set out. But you know darn well that a lot of times they won't do it. Too much trouble. All right. So we did that. We did that. I cleaned it up just the other day. Okay, there's gaskets that go up here. And there should be gaskets go on the bottom. That's it. Put the gaskets on. We'll go clean up the surface on the engine. And then we are good to go. All right. All right, so these have no specific up or down. Okay, just make sure that the loop part, little curve, is where it's supposed to be. You push them all the way in, and they actually stay in there because they got these little knobbies on the side. Not like some other cars where you put them on, and when you go to flip over the manifold, they actually can pop off. Then you're worried after you bolt it all together, did it fall out? Did it move? Then you guys are all really confused. So yeah, just make sure this is where it's supposed to be. Push them all the way around. You'll know how far deep it goes because it actually stops. You can only go so much. Check and double check. Like I said, you will feel that they bottomed out. That is it. This part is good. Don't forget the upper plenum also has a gasket too. Those are actually rectangle without this little curve. All right. Good to go there. Let's go clean the engine. All right. So the upper intake, or the low intake, I guess they call this, is in. New injector O-rings. I plugged in this side already. Okay. Now I'm going to plug in this side for the injectors. And then put the fuel rail. Snap them in. And then the 4T30 bolts will bolt right up. And then we're going to be up for the next step. All right. Went in pretty decent. That 3/4 inch heater hose does not get in the way. The little harness actually moves back, so you're okay. You just got to pretty much set it in, go around this oil filter housing, and it sits right in. All right. Talk at the specs, people. You can look that up. And we're going to be next. Let's see what's next. All right. So here we are. The fuel rail is in. The injectors in there are plugged in. Okay. Just want to show you something on the injectors, okay? They go in on a certain angle, a certain area. Okay. If you look over here, there's a fat part. And then there's two little sides. You got to spin the injector to make sure it lines up before you snap it in. Remember, this is plastic. That's plastic. If you force it and push it down, something is going to break. All right, so make sure you're very careful with that. If you have to turn the injectors, just line them up before you punch in the rail. Okay, and with the injectors, make sure they make a noise and snap in before you apply the red clip. So you're going to be able to hear it click first. Okay, and then push in the lock. All right, and then we're going to do the rest of it. Put the coils back in, put these silver Christmas trees back in, and then taking my break. It's a little warmer today. It's about 35 today. It'll survive. All right, let's take my break. Time for a hot tea. All right, folks. So over here, I found 2 broken clips that hold the ignition coil plugs onto the coils. Okay, it doesn't lock in no more. It's got the little broken clip that's broken. So you don't want them to slide off, because especially this side, you can't even get to it. All right, so this is what I did. Took a thin, smaller wire tie, stuck it to the top, looped it around, so it looks like this. Took another wire tie, put it under the coil, okay, all the way around. And if you look at it, what technically I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull on it to make it tight. So we'll do this. And we'll do this. See how it pulls it together? There you go. All right? Plug is not going nowhere. Good as gold. See that? All right. We'll cut these off, make them look a little neat. Then we'll put the little rubber cover over there. Don't forget to put that sucker back on. All right. So yeah, what you have to do if you have the broken clip. You can go to the dealer and try to order a clip and change it. Just gotta need the special tool to take the plugs out. But this is just as good. It's not going nowhere. All right. Plenum time. We have to clean everything. All right. It's plenum time. Right? Listen, while you're here, clean out your throttle body. Clean out the mating surface on the back of the plenum. New plenum gaskets. These hoses I had tied up out of the way. Okay? Wire tied it over there. And just drop it in. Slip it in. Make sure that the 4 studs are through the brackets that they're supposed to be in. Okay? And everything pretty much falls in place. Right? All the hoses are going to fall exactly where it's supposed to be. All the plugs going to be where it's supposed to be. All right. So once you slide it into the studs, just bend this bracket up a little bit just to go past here. Then you got a little Christmas tree with the harness. Pull that out of the way. And that's it. Do yourself a favor. Hand thread these studs in first. Make sure you have them nice and make sure that they're grabbed. Right? Don't run it in with a electric or an air ratchet, because you can strip it. It is plastic. Okay, everything's plastic. This goes into plastic. So you strip the plastic piece, then you're going to need the lower intake. All right. So the plenum is going to go back together. Connect all the hoses. Tighten them up. This plenum has the specs right there for you to torque it. All right. So let's do it. And don't forget, got the little rubber cover that goes back there. And then the 2 little brackets. Okay. I got them over there. So I'm going to do that. All right, I think we're looking pretty good here. All right, the plenum is on. Torque the specs. Connected your hose. 1 to the air cleaner box. 1 over here. 1 over here. Snapped in all the 3 pipes into where they're supposed to go. Tighten up and reinstall your 2 10mm bolts here with the bracket. Tighten up these 2 that I loosened up. You can remove them if you want, but you know what? This doesn't really move out of the way for clearance. Basically, you're just going to lift it a little bit just to tilt it so you can clear it over here. Other than that, that is good there. That is good there. Plug in the throttle body. This one goes to the air intake pipe. Let's go around this way. Everything falls in place exactly where it's supposed to be. Christmas tree clip, Christmas tree clip. This goes onto the sensor. This is your brake booster hose. I think I forgot to remove it at the very beginning of the video, but by now you probably realized that was still holding on. Your 2 10mm bolts with the studs for the bracket. Your 2 10mm bolts with the studs for the bracket. And what else? Up on top, like I said, this little foam piece here, when I took it out originally, I didn't want to rip it, so I took the bolts off. So I tucked the foam piece in there, reinstall the brackets here, reinstall the bracket here, line up the little hole, And you're going to snap in these little Christmas trees. Mamma mia, see how new they are? It's still hard to push in. But yeah, you snap them in like that. Nice and tight. They're not going nowhere. All right, that's it. Let's put the intake here. Then we'll start the guy up. All right. That's a little wet there because I cleaned the throttle plate while it's here. Might as well, right? Clean the intake. That's it. Let's put this pipe on. We'll start the little bugger. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it up now. What we're going to take the key in here. And we're going to turn it on and prime the fuel line. So we're just going to turn it on for a couple seconds. You can hear the pump humming in the back. Let's do it again. Do it one more time. Then we're going to start it. So let me put you guys outside. I'm going to start it. See what it does. Let's see what it does. All right. Plant you over here. Hopefully you don't fall off. All right. Let's go start it. Turn the key. No gas. It should go. Excellent. No lights on the dash except for it looks like a tire light. Oh, tire light went off. All right. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. All right, so the oil cooler is done. Spark plugs while we were there. Like I said, this one's the easy side to do. This is the hard side to do. All the hoses are connected. All the plugs are plugged where they're supposed to be. Nice and dry in there. All the Christmas trees are attached. That foam is on. The foam over the coils on that side is on. The brake booster hose is on. Christmas trees over here are on. That's it, people. We are done. No fuel leaks. What you could have done if you want, before you put this plenum on, after you put the fuel rail on, you could turn the key a couple times, okay, just to prime the fuel. And if you have a leak in your O-ring, that was a good time to do it. But since I put new O-rings on it, was not worried about it leaking. I'm not going to worry about it at all. I know I did a perfect job. All right. That's it. I'm going to call this one a day. I'm going to put the little cover on. Where's that cover? The official Jeep cover. Dun, dun, dun. He's always a pain in the butt. Take the clip in the back. Yes, they do. The clip in the back there somewhere, where it's supposed to lean up against. Just got to catch it right. There you go. Okay. Catch it right. Punched it in. There you go, Jeep. 3.6. Oil filter housing. And the tune-up. Thanks for watching, guys. Is it intense? Yes, it is. Does it look like it's really a bad job? Yeah, yes. Okay, it looks like a bad job. When you do it, it's really not that bad. It's time-consuming, and it's a freaking mess. I can only imagine when I move this Jeep back what my floor looks like, my cement floor. But if you catch my other video, I'll attach to the end of this. It shows you how to get oil off the cement. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for watching again. And we are out. There you go, Jeeps. Gotta love them. Here's an extra video of what kind of mess that Jeep makes after the oil cooler housing. Alright, I put cardboard down there because I know it's going to be a mess. I let it soak up. Thank goodness it didn't travel all the way down like this one. That one traveled over there. So I soaked it up with some brake cleaner. There it is. That is my mess. Not bad. I sprayed some of it over there earlier to catch it. Alright, so carburetor brake cleaner, people. That's the only way it's going to clean this up. Let's spray it. Let's do this little S. Let it soak for a little bit. And I use my little rag to pick it up. If you don't pick it up, then it soaks right back in. And it defeats the whole purpose, doesn't it? Let's do some of this. Let it soak a little bit. Let's soak it up with a rag. Let's go over here with this one. Soak up a little bit, change the rag. Because you don't want to transfer that same crap back over, right? Let's go over here. Let's kind of like try to squeeze it into the middle. Oh, I'm going to need a new can soon. I'm going to waste this can. All right. Soak it up. See what we could do. All right, that's going to be garbage. This new can. Time for a new can. Let's that dry. Let's see what happens. Let's sit here for a little bit. It's like 35 degrees out today. Let's see how fast it dries. Let me get a new can. There you go. The S is starting to slowly disappear. That one's starting to slowly disappear. If it was sunny out, it'll be a lot faster. All right. So let's give it a little bit more of a weight. All right, here it is again. After a couple minutes, see it's starting to slowly disappear. See that part there still drying? Like I said, if it was nice out and sunny, this would have been gone already, but it is 32 degrees out here, so it's going slow. All right, that's almost dry there. Well, if you see, the majority of the stain is gone. All right, so I'm going to cut it off here because I don't want to drag this out for too long. I want to spray a little bit more here, a little bit more here, wipe, and then I'm going to let that dry first before I spray. But most of the oil stain is gone. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Ciao. There it is. Go a little bit more. It looks pretty good. It's actually cleaner than the cement itself. Look at that. All right. Ciao.